Anna Livia Plurabelle from Finnegan's Wake. I was a leaf, falling, topsy-turvy, tumbling, trembling. You said I was golden. James Joyce for Luck Dime Couture. I was a legend in my own mind. I was severely art damaged. As a director, the movies I wanted to make were like Time Regained, Proust in the later years. He trips on a paving stone in front of the Guillemant's mansion in the Faubourg Saint-Germain, which recalls St. Mark's in Venice. Proust discovers involuntary memory, which unlocks his writing. I'd explore Proust's extended metaphors and dense imagery. I see Nancy and Joyce as the Grandes Dames, Madame de Villeparisis and Madame de Breauté. Then I explore my own childhood, the Blue Onion restaurant, Don and Babe, my uncle and father, the Blue Onion Martini, their trademark cocktail. Jim would bring back the Blue Onion Martini as a specialty at Le Club. Say what you will, Le Club was very literary. But, alas, here I am with the Lucky Dime Players promoting Jorts for Men. Previously, we'd featured Edna St. Vincent Millet. Today's shoot required a man who can rock short pants. Meet Malcolm St. Vincent Millet. I began the shoot reciting Edna St. Vincent Millet to the cast and crew and the higher-ups, known as HUPs, who came to observe and keep a check on budget, meaning keeping a check on me. Balls in the air, I yell. I want to see Le Club. Okay, now Jim's bar, that's it. Toss those balls high, close on Malcolm. Malcolm, I want to see wee camera down on the jorts. Okay, close on the dog and cue bubbles. Caesar, Candace, Tony, Ted, Reuben, balls higher. Sparkles, more bubbles. I want to see a lot of bubbles. Now, close on Ted's bag. That's it. Okay, zoom in on Malcolm. Okay, pass the book of poetry around. Everyone reads a sentence. Christine, Shayla, speak only in French. Malcolm, strum the bottle. And close on Ted's shoes. Now Sparkles, enter the frame. Dance with Ted. Get a good shot of the new chairs. Lucky the artists, lucky the poets. And here our choir recites the words of Edna St. Vincent Millet, poet and force of nature. Half the crowd sings, "We were very tired, we were very merry." The other half sings, "We had gone back and forth all night on the ferry." Now we hear Malcolm's mellifluous voice saying, "And the sky went wan, and the wind came cold, and the sun rose dripping, a bucket full of gold." Beautiful words, but coming out of the mouth of the dog. The handler hugs the dog. The dog whispers to the handler, who says to the assistant, "Winston wants a whiskey." Says, "Make it the McClellen." Camera whip pans to Malcolm, who flashes two fingers back to Winston, who says, "Make young Malcolm's a McClellen too. The 18-year, please." Okay, last shot, and the dog pees on wee painting, and cut. Reverse angle as Nancy arrives on set. Close on Winston. Winston the dog sings, "Nancy is as Nancy does, and maybe despite, and maybe because it's love." She walks down the driveway, making excuses that she had taken a nap and her alarm hadn't gone off. As usual, Nancy excels at making an entrance, and as she approaches, the dog sings, "Bubbles and bubbles of love, some are wet and splash in your face, woof woof woof, bubbles all over the place." Nancy looks at the dog, says, "Oh my God, I need a drink." Make it the McClellen. And cut. I'm on the set of the Pebble Beach Story. Pebble Beach is all about light. My camera is pointed up at the trees where the celestial light is passing through. I am meant to be having a chat with God. In this shot, I would place 2 violinists, 2 cellists, and a viola, far from each other, and I would say, "What does the light make you feel? Play to each other. Very John Cage." The effect would be magical. Unfortunately, the musicians booked a better paying gig playing Schubert's chamber music. Instead, I would have a beautiful woman in a lampshade hat dancing in the gazebo. I say to the light, "God, I want gravitas. I want to be an artist of the cinema." Would I hear God answer, "Stand on your head. You might find what you think is most important is least important." I do a headstand. Out of my pocket rolls a shiny lucky dime. Then I imagine God upside down, or spelled backwards, D-O-G. I'm thinking this because my 2 stars are making their way onto the set. Malcolm with his poet's demeanor, and behind him a small dog and his handler. I'm working with a stunt dog. Albeit, I was told, he was a very talented dog, but so much for high art. As the blood rushes to my head, I see the set dressers laying down the exotic fabrics which always swaddle Jim's bar. Also, I see fancy boxes of very pricey scotch being carried into the house for the interior product placement display. The 12-year-old, the 15-year-old, and the 18-year-old. And even though our film is set in a time long before product placement, upside down, standing on my head, I know, for today, this will be the money shot. God, I ask, WWTS, who writes this shit?